very exciting day for all of us here on NFL Network, and certainly for all of us here on NFL Game Day Morning, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Hour number 5 of our coverage. How in the world do the Eagles pull off an upset today against somebody who won the MVP last night? Tom Brady, the most valuable player of the National Football League. Would you care to guess the last National Football League MVP of the season to win the Super Bowl? Who would that person be?
Me guess?
Yeah.
It was me.
He knew it.
In 1999.
Right. But I'm on the list there, too.
You're on the list.
Since then.
That means it's good to be on the list.
Yeah, it's good. Always good to be on the list. You're right. Right, Mooch?
So that's it.
You're not on the list?
Yeah, stay away from those blank screens, Rich. They're embarrassing.
I know. Bars and tone is never what you want to see on a television broadcast. Okay, so how in the world do the Eagles pull off the upset today, Michael Irvin?
Yeah, guys, and listen, when you're talking about going against the greatest ever, and the greatest ever at quarterback, greatest ever on the sideline doing coaching, it's going to take more than one unit. Pittsburgh tried it in Pittsburgh this year, and they couldn't do it with the offensive unit. We just watched Jacksonville try it last week, a couple weeks ago, and they couldn't do it with the defensive unit. I went all the way back to 2013 when last time these teams played, and I watched that film. And Philly won that game. And you know how they won that game? They had 3 non-offensive touchdowns in that game. This Philly team, you got to find some ways to get non-offensive touchdowns, special teams, interceptions, block punts. Something else has to come up to help take that pressure off Nick Foles so his bootay won't be so tight that he can't breathe. You got to get some non-offensive touchdowns.
Okay.
Let's just hope that they're not counting on 3 non-offensive touchdowns to have to win this game, because that is not happening in this game. For me, I think the key is starting fast for the Eagles. Now, you look at the Patriots, they've been in every single scenario, so I don't think it really matters to them. But if I'm the Eagles and I start slow, and Tom Brady and company, going a Super Bowl, going for their 6th ring, and we fall down early, that to me is the recipe for disaster for Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles. They need to start fast. They need to jump up. Of course, keep the pedal down and pressure on, because we know what Tom Brady can do even if he's down late in a game. But to me, the worst scenario is if they start slow and now you start to panic and feel like, oh my gosh, we got to keep up with them. We got to do more than they got to get a fast start. They got to do some things early like they have, or like they did last week in the NFC Championship game. That to me is the key.
And what's parallel to that is you can't beat yourself, right? You saw Jacksonville, you get big penalties and big situations that turns into points. You lost that game by 4 points. You can't give the Patriots multiple opportunities. You cannot go out there and, like you said, if you come out a little tight and turn the football over, you can't give Tom Brady in this offense multiple opportunities. The other thing is, you can't stall. You mentioned it. You got to start fast, but you can't stop after the first half. You got to continue to put the pressure on this team, because they're going to do what? They're going to have the great adjustments. They're going to have in-game adjustments. They're going to have halftime adjustments. At some point, they're going to figure out what you're trying to do to them. They're going to make adjustments, and they're going to attack you. And if you don't have an answer for it, it's going to result in a loss.
Yeah.
So you got to put all those things together, and then you got to play great.
Bill Belichick has coached against Doug Peterson, the assistant coach, 3 times, Rich, and Bill has won 2 out of 3. However, there's a however here. The Doug Peterson, the starting quarterback, has played against Bill Belichick. Let's roll tape for the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback. This is in 2000, Willie. 20 out of 37, 138 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. And you know what? This was one of 3 wins for Doug Peterson as a starting quarterback, and he's got the formula to beat Bill Belichick's team.
Over 137 yards.
That game. That was
no interceptions.
That wasn't
over 137 yards.
That was not a good week for us.
Touchdowns, and you got yourself a win, right?
One of the things I listened to Monday night when Bill Belichick was talking, he talked all about how this team has been 10 points up, 20 points up, all the time. And it reminded me so much of Jimmy Johnson and our first Super Bowl, because Jimmy came in and he talked about that team, Buffalo Bills, being a high-scoring offense. He said, they will score early. He says, but if we keep the pressure on right around the half, they'll start giving it up with turnovers. And when they do, we will pour it on. And it went exactly like that. I mean, it went exactly like that. And I think Bill knows something. That's why he's going to try to put pressure.
And there's the flip side of him making that statement. Hey, they've played from ahead.
Right.
That's what he was doing
behind. And that's why he was doing it, Kurt. That's exactly what he was doing.
And there's a big sign in the Patriots locker room that says start fast. So they don't game plan. They don't want to go in and let you get ahead and say let's have a miraculous comeback. They do want to try and start fast.
I also want to congratulate you, Steve.
Why?
Because you bringing up Doug Peterson as a Cleveland Brown and showing that footage means we have officially run out of things to talk about before this game. This is great. I mean, you nailed it, man.
All right, well then
we have 4 more hours to go.
Let's just toss it over to Kim Jones then or something.